Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to discuss about fracture mechanics. Fracture mechanics deals with solids which are non-homogeneous and contain cracks. In the presence of cracks, which is normal for many of the engineering substances, how to design the machine elements is what is the importance of this subject. In this session, first we'll see different examples where dealing with such crack-like defects becomes extremely important. It will be followed by the different basics of fracture mechanics, the theoretical basis, and in particular, we are going to look to some extent into what is known as linear elastic fracture mechanics. We'll see some theoretical concepts which are entirely new such as the stress intensity factor and fracture toughness. We'll also see how to implement these concepts into solving few of simple problems involving crack-like defects. So let's begin with the examples of objects or cases where the fracture mechanics plays an important role. The first example is the famous Titanic ship failure. So this is way back, a century back old situation. If you read the slide, the in today's analysis, the temperature of the sea at that time was minus 2 degrees centigrade, which was that is where the material becomes brittle, and the quality of material that was used during that era obviously did not have the concept of the fracture toughness, and that is the present day failure analysis of Titanic ship. So it has got origins in terms of the fracture mechanics principles. The second example is that from the Second World War era. So there is a ships, fleet of ships known as Liberty ships. They were getting manufactured, and a lot of ships failed while they were anchored at the sea. Not during any loads acting on them other than their self weight. And again, this can be attributed to the presence of low temperatures. Most of the ships were anchored at North Atlantic Sea and the temperatures were extremely low. The third example is a recent one. In 2008, a oil platform which was getting erected into the sea, it had a major failure which can be related to fracture related damage, and a huge, almost 2 billion US dollars amount of equipment was at risk. Fortunately, the total damage was averted. The fourth example which is given here is the subsea structures. So in today's world, there are a lot of structures which are below the sea level. In this particular environment, in addition to low temperatures which can occur below the sea surface, there is an additional element that arising from the aggressive environment. The salt water that ocean surrounds interacts with the regular fracture mechanics principle and give rise to very risky situations. So that is another aspect of fracture mechanics. The third example is damage to an aircraft where the aircraft fuselage structure got blown away during the flight when the plane was flying at very high altitudes. It is combined action of very low temperature at that altitude, and also because of high altitude, the differential pressure between the outside of aircraft and inside of aircraft was highest. So that led to the maximum load and low temperature, both uh, combined effect led to the fracture and ultimate uh, total damage to the structure. Another example is that of a pressure vessel which was getting tested inside a workshop during winter season. Because of the low temperature, the material was brittle, and when you pressurize the vessel for testing purpose, it simply broke into two halves, as the picture can show. The fracture mechanics or the fracture related damages, when they are associated with cyclic loading, like here you see a pinion gear for a marine propeller thruster. So the teeth of the gear, they are continuously subjected to cyclic loads, and also in the presence of any defects, manufacturing or otherwise, a crack propagation will occur and lead to final breakage of the teeth. So the fracture mechanics has got dangerous implications for various types of application, right from transport to power generation and to process equipment and so on. So this prompted a lot of research in this area. So research is more than 100 years old in this particular area, and a lot of material is getting gathered. And we'll see the basics of this particular branch of solid mechanics, which deals with uh, handling such type of situations. Before we go into the details of fracture, we will look into two types of fracture, brittle fracture and ductile fracture. During the fracture, the material absorbs the energy, as you have seen in strength of materials, that in the impact testing, you check how much energy is getting absorbed. Higher the energy getting absorbed, it's a better material to deal with impact-like situations. The same condition is true for resistance to fracture failure, or in the presence of cracks. The crack propagation in front of the crack tip, or in the presence of cracks, is very rapid in the case of brittle materials, and it is slow in case of ductile materials. So in case of ductile materials, there is a plastic deformation ahead of crack which uh, slows down the propagation of crack, and as such the crack is stable. And in case of brittle fractures, which is very cold metals or ceramics or ice or glass, you will find that there is relatively less plastic deformation or negligible plastic deformation, and crack propagation is unstable. So what most of the examples that we saw in the earlier pictures, they were examples of unstable crack growth, where before somebody could notice the crack growth is occurring, a catastrophic failure had taken place. So as such, the brittle failure is the situation which engineers try to avoid at their best. And the ductile fracture is the one which is preferred. So as far as possible, we would like to use materials which are having good ductility features, and we will see later which material property gives you indication about having a good ductile fracture type feature. There are two major viewpoints related to how the mechanics study has been done. One is from the point of view of material science. So here a lot of research has been done as to how the material behaves in the presence of load, and how the actual crack propagation takes place from physics point of view. So here you actually see the microstructural mechanisms near the crack tip, the role of dislocations, the role of grain boundaries, effect of phase particles inclusions. So it is more of a fundamental research by which you try to predict how different types of material will react to the given loading, and what will be its effect on the crack propagation. Whereas the mechanics approach, what we are looking into, we consider the material as ideal. So material is considered homogeneous except for the presence of the cracks. So rest of the material is considered homogeneous and continuous. And we concentrate on the stress, displacement and energy which is near to the crack tip. And the idea here is to develop mechanistic design criteria. The mechanistics is the one which is not really has grounding in physics, but it is one that works. So the models that fracture mechanics we are talking about, they assume certain ideal material characteristics which real materials don't have, but for practical purposes, they provide a very good prediction as to how the crack propagation will take place. So that is the approach we'll be taking in this particular session.